Hello and welcome to Topper Machine. I'm Josh Topper, and this we're going to call an episode of Fixing My Junk. So what I have here is my 1960s General Supply 260 air compressor. What this is a Kaiser Willys CJ2A motor with a custom head on it that runs on 1 and 4 cylinder and compresses air on number 2 and 3 cylinder. So I've been having some issues with it, and it's progressively gotten worse, and I think I got it narrowed down. Actually, I know I have it narrowed down to the distributor. It's a point system, it's condenser, it's an old system. And as they sit, this gets used twice a year maybe. As they sit, they have issues. And so what I did was I went to Kaiser Willys website. They are the Willys Jeep supplier, biggest in the country. They are really good and knowledgeable what they do. And I ordered up some parts. And here are the parts. This is a brand new reproduction distributor with electronic ignition. So it should cure all of my problems there with the points, condenser, and all that. A new ignition coil, 2 new spark plugs, because it's a 4-cylinder, and a spark plug wire set. So we're going to change out the wires, and I'm going to show you what we do with the other 2 wires. So we need to terminate those differently. They still need to be hooked up, but they're terminated. All right, so I want to bring you in close and show you this distributor because I'm sure this is going to cure all of my problems. But it is fully electronic. There, you have your, I think this is the pickup coil, this is a sensor, or the other way around, but whatever. I mean, either way, it's a new distributor, reproduction to look like the original, so it has an oil cup, but they do not work. This is just for decoration. And you got 2 wires that you need to hook up instead of 1. So we're going to change out the original, I believe it's a Presto light on there, with this guy. And hopefully that'll cure all of my problems. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get the air filter. This is the compressor air filter off. The hood off that I made. When I bought this, it did not have this, so I made this part to cover the motor because it sits outside. I'm going to get all this off and get ready to get into it. All right, I got the hood off, so now you can see what I've got going here. So as you can see, this is a special head. These are unloader valves for when you get up to pressure. It pressurizes and opens these up, so the cylinder piston's going up and down, and it's just breathing. It's in, out, in, out. It's not actually pushing it out the exhaust pipe over here that goes back to the tank. And then, as you can see, here's my plug wires. Here's 2 and 3, and they terminate at a ground. That's all you're doing, just grounding it. And then 1 and 4 come right to their spark plugs. So very simple setup. And then the way I have this set up is I've got a oil bath air filter here for the motor, and then I have that cartridge filter for the air compressor side. Originally they were fed together. I split them because I thought it was a better option. It seemed like it made more sense to me. Running them together just not makes sense to me because when that thing is unloaded, it's breathing. Like you can feel air moving in and out at the air filter. And I did not think that, I thought that would screw up our compressor side or our engine side. So we're gonna go ahead, and I already drew kind of a little map here of where 1 and 4 wires go. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this distributor because the oil port is way up here. I don't like that. I'm going to spin it. So we're going to just get this thing kind of figured out where we are and turn things as we need. Let's get the distributor cap up out of my way. Okay, there. So as you can see, we got a points ignition. It looks corroded, which I'm gonna guess is part of my problem. The shaft actually doesn't have a lot of wobble. I thought it would, but it doesn't seem too bad. That's condenser. So what we gotta do is just take this whole unit out. I'm gonna mark the position of my rotor so that I can kind of figure out where I need to be to turn the distributor and get it where I want it as far as the position of this oil. So it does bump up against, so I can't turn the distributor further this way to adjust the timing. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all unbolted and pull this guy out, and I'll swap this out and we'll get the timing right. All right, I don't know if any of you saw that, but the stud came right out the side of the motor on that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be really quick about this. I got a fender washer here. I don't want to lose a lot of coolant. I mean, it's a small hole, but oh, there we hit the vacuum. Perfect. And we'll just put that back in. If I can find it. There it is. And perfect. I'll get that tightened back up and then we'll move on to the distributor. All right, I got everything loose. I got my position marked out on my paper so I know where everything goes. And I already looked, these distributors are a little bit different on the setup here, so I don't think we're gonna have this same issue. But it should just pull right out like that. All right, so got them laying out side by side here, and they are identical except for this plate is mounted the opposite direction on this one, the new one, which I think is gonna actually benefit us. So that looks great. But overall, I mean, they did an amazing job of reproducing this thing. So let's go ahead and get this one installed. So I'm gonna take the distributor cap off so I can get my rotor position where it's supposed to be. And we'll get these wires untied. So with this new ignition, we run 2 wires instead of 1. Of course, you're gonna fight me. My fat fingers don't work right anymore as I get older. There we go. All right, let go. So she goes in just like this. Where's that tab? Over there. And we know that our distributor was timed up here, so we just got to get it to drop in somewhere up there. And it don't want to go 180 degrees. Let me pull it back out and take a peek, see if there is a difference side to side. Because it should just drop right in, I would assume. Ah, there is. See, it's offset. So that means I'm going to have to change my plug wire position. Not a big deal, but we'll just put it in and figure out where everything needs to go. There it is. So we're just 180 degrees off from the original, not a big deal. So I'll go ahead and get my bolt in there to the block and at least get that started, and then I'll figure out my distributor timing and everything. 180 degrees off means I should just have to swap those 2 wires, I would assume. But we'll do a little bit of checking first. Okay, so here's my map. And before, the rotor was in this position, so vertical, 12 o'clock. And about 11 o'clock, 10:30 was my number 1 cylinder, and number 4 was extreme opposite of that. And now our rotor is pointing down 6 o'clock, and that tells me it's already past number 1 cylinder, because I'm pretty sure it rotates clockwise if I remember right. I'm already past number 1 cylinder, so I need to make number 1 down here and number 4 up here, and that should cure my timing being 180 degrees different. All right, I wanted to bring the end of the other distributor in closer so you could see it's offset a little bit, so it only goes one way, that little drive tang there. So that's where I was having my issue. That's why we have to change the timing a little bit, but that is not an issue at all. All right, before I get too carried away, we're gonna go ahead and change these 2 spark plugs, get this over with. And I already gapped my plugs to make sure they are right. It's something you always want to do with a new spark plug, is always out of the package, check the gap, make sure they're right. Because I've seen them damaged in shipping or you know, whatever. But well, the old plug doesn't look too bad. The gap is a little bit wide on the old plug, so that could have been a little bit of an issue there over time, but I really don't think so. The way she's been acting, I think our problem is more just the ignition. So I think this new distributor is going to cure all of them problems. At least I hope they do. Yeah, that one's actually looks pretty decent. There we go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the new cap back on. And then we're going to put the 1 and 4 plug wires on, and then, well, the distributor or the coil wire, and then we'll take and modify the other 2 plug wires, because they obviously are not going to work with the boot on them, because they need to go to this little bolt here for termination. So, but ordered these right from Kaiser Willys as well. I said they have everything for the Jeep motors, and I tell you, the price was reasonable. This distributor, this electronic distributor, was $155. Oh, it's the same both ends. I just got to get it to start straight. It's going to fight me. Just take that end off and come in on it straight. There we go. And I probably didn't have to replace my coil because it is a newer 12-volt coil, but I thought, you know what, let's just replace it all, get a fresh start, know what I have. So I'm going to assume I need a longer wire for here. So this is 4, which then becomes our 1 wire. So we'll hook that one there. And then 4, which now is our number 1 cylinder. There, that looks good. And then we'll take these 2 and I'll snip the ends off, and I'll put terminal rings on them so that we can bolt it to the frame there. Okay, I just made up a cable end. I ran them both together and got that all put together. And just get this on the stud here. And of course, where'd I drop the nut? There it is. And actually, what am I seeing there? Looks like There. All right, now I'll go get the wiring diagram so I know how to hook this all back up, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty straightforward. I bet you these wires need to go to the plus terminal along with this wire, and then this wire, the other one, oh, maybe there isn't. All right, I'm gonna go get the wiring diagram and figure out what we need to do next. All right, so I got the instructions printed off right off their website, 𝐾𝐳𝑟Willys.com, and basically I put a new coil with internal resistor. These two wires go to the positive terminal, as I did. The black wire from the distributor goes to the negative, and the plus wire, the red wire, goes to the positive on the coil here. So basically you're feeding it off one side. Your ground and your signal is all here, and this is 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿. Pretty straightforward, so I'll go ahead and get those hooked up, and then since we know the timing is pretty close, we're going to try to start it and just see what it does. All right, well, let's give this thing a try, and we'll kind of know where the timing is if it's close. And it's a little bit advanced. It was bucking there, so it was trying to fire before top dead center. I'm gonna just turn the distributor just a little bit the other way. It actually don't sound too bad, but it's unloaded right now, so once I get a load on it, it might just kill it. You can hear it's pulling it down a little bit. Well, that's already working better than it did this morning. I'm at 60 pounds of air. So it is making air. It's coming up slow, but it sounds like I might need to adjust it just a little more. I mean, I'm going to adjust by sound, and then I'll come back later with timing light and everything, get it perfect. All right, I stalled it out. I need a little more adjustment on this rotor here, so I'll have to loosen this other bolt to get that last little bit I need, and then we can fine tune it on this one. So. What the fuck size is that? Why is there metric stuff on here? Stupid metric system. Yeah, sure as shit. I'm gonna go right there. That should get me closer to where I need to be. Now we're gonna start it back over here. All right, fire in the hole. And we're a little bit off yet. Let's see. Go right there. I flooded it. Well, I guess we'll let it sit for a minute and then we'll come back to it. All right, I figured out what I did. I went the wrong way with the distributor here. Stupid moment. All right, let's try that again. We're close. Sounding pretty happy there, but it's unloaded right now. I'm going to tighten my screw just a little and we'll try it again. That's sounding pretty good. That's even better. It's starting to rev up a little bit more. It's under pressure too. Now the big test is when we get to the unloader valve when it unloads and then I cycle it and bring it back online. It doesn't like to rev back up. So hopefully we got that cured. All right, there she unloaded. So now I just got to bleed some air off of it and get her to cycle back on. So I'll blow off the tank a little bit and we'll see what happens. It hasn't done that in years. That is amazing. That is sounding really good. I adjusted it just a little tweak more. We'll try blowing it off one more time and see what happens. Now that's amazing, it's actually doing it. It hasn't done that in years without filing the points every time I start it and messing with it. So I'm very happy with that. Well, cool. Well, I couldn't be happier with the results of this. I got a piece of my junk fixed. This was, like, again, thanks to Kaiser Willys. They reproduced these distributors with the electronic $155. I mean, direct replacement, this thing is awesome. Just such a cool thing that they've come up with, and for the price is just incredible. Plug wires, the 2 plugs, the coil, and the distributor, I got 265 bucks into this, and now I've got my compressor that'll work again. So pretty happy with that. Like I said, I'll get the timing light out later and I'll do some fine tuning on it, but the fact that when the unloader valve, when it cycles back on to make air, it stays running. It continues to run. It builds air. It builds pressure. Before, it would flip on, the unloader would kick in, and it would just stall right out. So I know that my original distributor had some issues. Whether it just be dirty points or bad condenser, who knows, you know, it's just going to a solid state ignition is definitely the way to go on stuff that doesn't get used a lot. You know, that it's just trouble free. Well, I hope you enjoyed this short video, or maybe it's a long video. I don't know how it went, but I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, very happy I got a piece of my junk working again. I've been working on my little projects here, trying to fix some things that just have been bothering me for years. You know, as there's a lot of work in the shop right now, so just trying to get my own stuff done. And this is just one of them that's been on the back burner for a while, so super thrilled to have it. You know, I use this, I take it on the road when I got to do locomotive or rail car air brake testing. I've used it for sandblasting here when I need to. The big thing right now is we wanted to get it working again so that when we build the sawmill shed, I don't have to string out a couple 100 feet of air hose. I can just pull this over there, charge it up, and we can run a nail gun for all day off of one charge out of 120-gallon tanks. So very cool. So very happy with that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay with us. There's lots of cool stuff coming, or has been a lot of cool stuff, so check out the old content as well. And until next time, thanks for watching, and get out in your shop and get it done right the first time.